vanguardia en materia deportiva en el mundo. El primer día estaremos tocando los principales temas que componen la competencia que cambiará la manera de ver el fútbol. La Leagues Cup, el único torneo oficial entre dos ligas con el aval de CONCACAF que busca crecer a la región de manera global. El programa del segundo día tendrá la participación de especialistas, líderes de la industria para abordar temas como la formación de futbolistas, el fútbol femenil, la gestión de los clubes, así como una charla muy especial con el técnico de la selección nacional, Diego Coca. Antes de regresar los micrófonos al estudio con Valeria y Toño y de dejarlos con el primer día de actividades donde también formaré parte, quiero agradecer ampliamente a los profesionales que componen esta gran alineación y nos comparten sus conocimientos. También agradezco a los moderadores de los distintos medios de comunicación, quienes a partir de su experiencia enriquecen las sesiones, especialmente a TUDN, por su ayuda en la producción de esta tercera edición, así como a nuestros patrocinadores. Es un honor para mí darles la bienvenida al Summit Liga BBVA MX 2023, esperando que estos días sean de enorme provecho en la construcción de un mejor fútbol. Regreso las cámaras y micrófonos al estudio con Valeria y Toño, con quienes es un verdadero privilegio trabajar. Que sea un gran evento. Muchas gracias.
Y así será, tremendo evento que ya les hemos platicado un poquito de esto, así que muchísimas gracias, Mikel. En breve estaremos de regreso contigo. La edición 2023 es la tercera, como ya lo decía Mikel, ocasión que la Liga BBVA MX reúne a líderes de la industria para compartir ideas. En los años anteriores han estado presentes personalidades como Javier Tebas de la Liga, Miguel Ángel Gil del Atlético de Madrid, Ferran Soriano, CEO del City Football Group, el campeón del mundo, Jorge Valdano, entre otros.
Así es, y este año la calidad de los expositores también es extraordinaria y para ello revisemos lo que nos depara este primer día de actividades dedicado a la primera competencia entre dos ligas avalada por CONCACAF.
Veamos, tendremos 5 ponencias. Iniciaremos con la de Mikel Arriola, presidente ejecutivo de la Liga BBVA MX, quien compartirá espacio con Víctor Montagliani, presidente de CONCACAF, y Don Garber, comisionado de la MLS en la conferencia Leagues Cup. Competencia sin fronteras.
Y vaya que lo va a hacer. A ellos les seguirán los responsables deportivos de América, Chivas, FC Dallas, LAFC para hablar del nuevo fútbol que se vivirá con la competencia trinacional. Por su parte, en un interesante ejercicio, David Medrano, Alejandro de la Rosa, Mauricio Pedrosa y Felipe Cárdenas tendrán una mesa redonda para hablar de los principales retos que enfrenta la Leagues Cup.
Además, para la cuarta ponencia cambiaremos un poco el chip para puntualizar sobre la formación del futbolista y para ello, Lucía Mijares, directora de Desarrollo Deportivo de la Federación Mexicana de Fútbol, charlará con Chris van der Hagen de la Real Asociación Belga de Fútbol y cerraremos el día tocando temas de responsabilidad social, ya que como ustedes lo saben, la Liga BBVA MX es mucho más que fútbol.
Así es que gran primer día el que tenemos por delante en el Summit 2023 de la Liga BBVA MX, evento que también hacen posible ustedes que nos están siguiendo por las distintas plataformas. Los invitamos a interactuar con nosotros y a hacerse presentes sin importar la distancia a través de las redes sociales usando el hashtag SummitLigaMX, así como suscribirse completamente gratis al evento en el sitio summit.ligamx.net.
Nos interesa, ya lo saben, compartir ideas, leerlos, qué piensan, con qué están de acuerdo, con qué no, qué se puede mejorar. Y sin más, arrancamos. Silbatazo inicial, los dejamos con Alex Berry, quien va a ser el encargado de moderar la primera ponencia que ya les adelantábamos. Leagues Cup. Competencia sin fronteras. Dos socios que de la mano de CONCACAF tienen claro el objetivo, ser ejemplo de desarrollo y por supuesto sentar un precedente de aquí al Mundial del cual seremos sede.
Thank you very much, Valeria, Antonio. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and joining us for this very important panel within the Liga MX Summit. we're going to have a conversation about the Leagues Cup, a competition without borders. My name is Alejandro Berry. I'm a sports anchor for Televisa Univision and TUDN, and I'm honored in taking part in this conversation with people that make things happen, with people that make the decision, with the most influential people in our business. So before we dive into the details on the conversation about this very important tournament that is going to impact not only soccer in North America, but also around the world, I'm going to introduce our guests for today. We'll be having a conversation, of course, with Victor Montagliani, president of CONCACAF. Also with us is Don Garber, MLS commissioner, and of course, the host of the main event, Mikel Arriola, president of Liga MX. So before we get into the details, I just want to give everyone the opportunity to make an opening statement. Mikel Arriola, thanks for the invite. I'll be starting with you. This is without a doubt one of the biggest things that is happening this summer around the soccer world. So thank you for having me, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank Alejandro, gracias. Thank you very much. Also, I want to welcome Victor Montagliani and Don Garber, who are very important, have been very important in terms of strengthening our region, North America, with a unique tournament in the world. We were talking about this in 2021. Remember, guys, that we were imagining something big, something very wide in terms of promoting our leagues with CONCACAF, with FIFA, and that we were able to generate a great agreement, I think. And now we are in front of something that has never happened in the history of leagues in the world. But the most important thing I want to underline is that this event, this tournament, is a FIFA CONCACAF official tournament. So this is going to be huge. We were talking about with Don about the amount of people that now have bought tickets for the tournament, and it's very interesting what we have done. So I want to thank Victor, I want to thank Don, because we are going to experience something that will generate a lot of interest internationally. And obviously what we want is to grow the sport in North America, and we have found the most important and the most interesting and the most wide tool, which is Leagues Cup. So thank you very much.
And we'll be diving into the details soon. Don Garber, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here, and wishing everybody here a good day. Let me start by saying that all of us who are in the football business in this part of the world believe that we are the horizon that ultimately has the greatest opportunity. And with Victor's leadership of CONCACAF, I know I speak on behalf of my friend Mikel and Liga MX. We believe that we can be as strong, as popular, as relevant as any region in the world. And opportunities like Leagues Cup and the expansion of the Nations League and all the other programs that are going on in the CONCACAF region will allow us to build enormous momentum as we are on the path to the World Cup in 2026. So I want to thank Mikel for your partnership, you and your owners. And Vic, you and I know each other a very, very long time. And, I really believe that the best leaders are the ones that capture momentum and build on opportunity and have the courage to never be discouraged. And I think the Leagues Cup is an example of that. I think that there was an opportunity to say no, or maybe to say maybe, but Vic and all of his staff leaned in hard and with both feet to try to do something that's never been done in the world. By the way, not in the NBA, not in the NFL, not in Major League Baseball, not in any football league around the world. And we're going to do it for the first time with our partnership with Liga MX and the support of Victor. So really excited about this tournament upcoming.
It is truly special. And now, Mr. Victor Montagliani, who gave the green light to everything. Victor, thanks for being here with us.
Gracias, Alejandro. Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here at the Liga MX Summit, and obviously be here with not only my two colleagues, but two very good friends, Mikel and Don. Mikel's new to the group, but he's fit right in. Don and I obviously go back a long way, with obviously MLS being part of a big part of the Canadian fabric in my days when I was up in Canada. As Don said, this is very exciting for our region. It's sort of it's the beginning of the new CONCACAF club ecosystem. And the great thing about it is that this has now forged a blueprint for the rest of the region. And so it's not just isolated with Leagues Cup. It's a blueprint of how to actually everybody to work together. We made a conscious decision when we got in the room 3 years ago. Looking at the history of how clubs and leagues and confederations usually converse, it's usually not very positive. And although it has gotten a bit better, and as a chairman of the stakeholders committee, I can speak to that. And Don sits on the stakeholders committee with me as a member of the World League Forum. The reality is that, as Don says, we have an opportunity in our region. Everybody always looks to our region as the future of the game, and you hear that all the time, especially outside our borders. The reality is that the future is now. The future is not down the road; it's now. We have two leagues that have really matured over the last 20 years, thanks to the work of with MLS, obviously, thanks to the work of Mr. Garber, to Mikel and his predecessors, but also Mikel has carried the torch now. And I think we have an opportunity here to really go to the next level as it relates to our club ecosystem. We're trying to do that parallel with our national team systems, and Don alluded to Nations League and all the things we're trying to do there. But really, at the end of the day, our national teams will only be as good as our club system is and our leagues are. You can't have one without the other. You're not going to have a good national team if your league's not good, right? And if your clubs within the league are not good. So we sat down, and I knew at the end of the day, our Champions League is only going to be as good as our leagues. And in North America, it's these two leagues. And so, as much as, you want to pat yourself on the back for forging, it's pretty easy when you sit down and think reasonably, especially with people that are like-minded. And this is really, maybe the stars are aligned here because you have the right people in the room. But to me, it was very important to empower the Leagues Cup and the concept of the Leagues Cup to be part of our ecosystem. Because once it's part of our ecosystem, rather than just being official, it's not just the official part. It's actually now embedded in how we develop the leagues, how we develop the clubs, and there's a North Star, right? You have your league, you have your Leagues Cup, you have your Champions League, and you have the FIFA Club World Cup, where we're going to have more thing. That's all relative. And if you saw, the noise, for instance, when the first MLS team that went to the Club World Cup made Seattle, and I have to say, on a personal note, because I grew up in the Northwest, maybe it was iconic that it was Seattle that was the first one, because it's been one of the greatest clubs in North America for decades, with an unbelievable fan base. And so it was great to see them there, the excitement it caused in the city. And then when Tigres went to the final, that was unbelievable, and the excitement that caused. So you can see, our leagues are understanding that of course, there's the day-to-day bread and butter of your league and winning your league and winning every week, but also understanding, and thanks to Mikel and Don, who get it, that the relevancy of our leagues is as we move forward into international football. And this is what Leagues Cup really is. Is that linkage. So I'm very excited about it. And I thank, obviously, MLS and Liga MX for, not only understanding it, but really being pioneers in world football in terms of doing this.
By the way, if anyone wants to jump in the conversation, feel free to do that. We're just having a natural flow to this. So let me ask you something, Don, because obviously we're talking about a tournament that is a first-time tournament, kind of an out-of-the-box tournament. It's never done before. I'm sure you faced a lot of challenges around the organization part of the tournament. Could you speak to some of the biggest problems you had to face in terms of leading up to the Leagues Cup?
Well, I think the biggest issue for club football anywhere is schedule, right? And I think and Victor leads that sort of the alignment of all these very different interests in the world of football, not just on the club level, but everywhere else. So the first thing we needed to do is to reach an agreement on when it would be played. And how does that fit into our mutual schedules? The idea that we are shutting down our leagues during a period of time, I don't think anybody understands how complicated that is. Just imagine the Premier League stopping for a month and doing something other than their regular league schedule. So I think it speaks to the idea that here in this part of the world, the opportunity is so big, but you have to break some glass. You have to take some chances and you have to innovate. Our league, which is very new, is just based on the idea of innovation. And what better way than doing it actually with the product itself? I think the American sports model has always been about the business of sport. And what we want to do is take some of the thinking that we have in terms of innovation and put it on the actual competition and sporting side. And that's what Leagues Cup is going to be about. But, we're pretty good at selling tickets and sponsorship and television production and marketing and fan engagement and all the things that'll get people excited. But what is really terrific is this is a nose-to-nose, head-to-head sporting competition that I think will be very meaningful.
Yeah, I'm sure, Mikel, it wasn't easy getting to where we are now, just about a month away from kickoff.
Yes, Alejandro, I remember almost 3 years ago when we were viewing the Superliga initiative in Europe. We were talking about these guys are fighting, and they are fighting with UEFA, and they are fighting with FIFA, and we have a huge opportunity here with a leader such as Victor and a great commissioner such as Dan. We were thinking, you can remember this saying about the whole enchilada. I don't know if you remember when we were negotiating with the US this immigration agreement in the early 2000s. We're talking about the whole enchilada, and the whole enchilada in soccer and football was a World Cup tournament of leagues. And we were playing with MLS, a Leagues Cup, a friendly Leagues Cup of 4 teams of each country. And then we played the All-Star game. We played Campeones Cup. But we were imagining something big. As Don said, you would never believe that we have to stop our tournaments for a month. 18 teams have to stop their schedule. They have to reconfigure their sporting year. And that happened because we sit in the table with CONCACAF and we said, let's do something that integrates all the teams. Because what I tell to my owners is that we never had the opportunity for all the teams, an international window for all the teams. You could never imagine an official tournament, international official tournament for Mazatlan or for San Luis or for Querétaro. You have in the Champions League every year, where you had Monterrey, you had America, you had Guadalajara, but you never had other teams that have youth forces that want to show their trademarks in the States with 110 broadcasted games in the world. We will have 110 countries watching Leagues Cup. So imagine the opportunity and the size and the importance of the agreement that we made with CONCACAF. And now we have been able to present both leagues. And you can see the rhythm of growth of MLS thanks to the great management of Don. But in 2012, from that place in history, they are growing now 20% a year. That's unimaginable. That's very important. And we want to join in that rhythm of growth as Liga MX. And the size, if you add both leagues, you can compare in terms of size. We are bigger than Copa America. And
Well, it's as big as it gets, right, Victor?
That's right.
What are some of the resources you need in order to organize a tournament like this? You're talking about 3 countries, 2 leagues, nearly 50 teams. I mean, in terms of marketing, security, organization, I think there's challenges all around.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Information.
Yeah, I think there's challenges. Of course, there's challenges, but the good thing is that there's experience here too. I mean, Don alluded to, the other side of the business, and there's a lot of experience within the ranks, whether it's MLS, Liga MX, even CONCACAF, in terms of putting on. And I can tell you, I'm not sure anybody does this better than we do, right? Our growth is on the pitch. We get better every year. I'm not sure off the pitch we can go toe to toe with anybody. In fact, we're probably champions of the world, quite frankly, when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I know that firsthand because I have I don't know if it's the pleasure, but I have the job to travel all over the world to go to events. And you know what? Nobody does what we do. And a lot of that is done by, the people here. And so, yes, there's always going to be challenges. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. This is 48 teams. The schedule, it's tight. As Don says, they got to shut their league. So, this is not going to be a cakewalk from an organizational standpoint. But I know that, I know the people that are involved behind the scenes, behind Don, behind Mikel, behind me, and they're at the world-class level. So I think that it's going to come off with a plum.
Do you think?
Alejandro, let me ask Vic a question. Vic, do you think this could be what is very intriguing to me is how you're creating this version of Leagues Cup in the rest of CONCACAF. So the rest of the region will have their own version of the Leagues Cup. Do you ever think something like this could happen in the other parts of the world?
Alejandro is taking your job, man.
He might be better at it too.
Don Garber from Univision.
Very intrigued. I personally am very intrigued by the idea that when you announced Leagues Cup, it wasn't just Liga MX and MLS, right? It was a CONCACAF initiative that was about similar type of tournament. And I have always thought, and I never asked you this question, that is this the future? Do you see something like this? Maybe not in Europe, but in the other confederations.
Yeah, so what we took the Leagues Cup concept, and now we've embedded into Central America. And there's a Copa Centroamericana, and there's a Caribbean Cup. And they are going to feed into our Champions League, besides also league winners of certain leagues, right? But each regional cup will have a few slots. And the excitement that's been created in the regions is tremendous, right? Because they all want to see a champion of their region, right? And so I think actually there's an opportunity. Yeah, Europe might be a bit of a challenge because, with the long history of club competition, we all know that. But I think I've already had some discussions, ironically, with some of our friends in Asia, because a lot of their leagues, for instance, are developing leagues, right? They don't. Not many leagues in Asia are what I would call mature, for the lack of a better word. Even Japan, which is an excellent football nation, the J League is pretty young, right? And so I think there's an opportunity here to export this concept to other confederations for sure. Probably not Europe, and I'm not sure about South America either. But yeah, there's definitely an opportunity because I could see how it would benefit some of the other confederations.
Yeah, it definitely might catch on into different parts of the world, Mikel, and it also might be kind of 48 teams with 3 countries, kind of a different format, but still kind of a warm up. It could be leading up to the World Cup in 2026.
Yeah, obviously, we have Leagues Cup from here to farther than 2026, and you could see in the last World Cup, Liga MX and MLS were on the top 10 of the leagues in terms of amount of players that played in the World Cup. No. So imagine in 2026, the amount of players that we will provide to the World Cup in North America. Now you can see MLS with a lot of international players. We are leagues that buy foreign players that play in their national teams. So from here to 2026, you will see 3 champions of Leagues Cup, and hopefully from Mexico done. However, we are, before 2026, if you add the value of both leagues, you will see that in terms of value and in terms of importance of players in Mexico and MLS, considering also obviously Canada, we will be very attractive internationally. So one of the main objectives of this event is enhancing the amount of fans in our region. And as I say, if you take out the passport in Leagues Cup, you can add a new country of 150 million fans. Imagine that.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Is this what the fans want, Don? Is this what the people want?
Well, it's interesting, Alejandro. I think fans are becoming borderless, right? There's this idea that years ago you were blocked in terms of what your fan interest can be. I think the Premier League, decades ago created a global fan base because of the fact that their teams would travel to Asia, they would travel to South America, they would travel around the world, and you became a Manchester United fan or an Arsenal fan or a Liverpool fan. But today there is a global community that's connected by borderless content. So in the United States, there is more soccer or football on television than any other sport by many, many, many times. There are hundreds of soccer games on every week in the United States. So people have an opportunity to be a fan of many, many different clubs. And we think that we should embrace that, lean into, if you will, this idea that our league and Liga MX need to grow their global fan base. We say around our league that we are playing the beautiful global game and are not yet a global league. And part of that is our youth, but part of that is just exposure. So I do believe that this will give us an opportunity to grow our fan base. And I know Victor will talk about this. We have a unique opportunity with the 3.5 years leading up to the World Cup. I mean, the idea that we will have a CONCACAF confederation-wide World Cup is unique. So why not have something similar on the club side?
There is more than just an economical upside to this, Victor, right? I mean, what is the benefit for North American soccer with the Leagues Cup?
Yeah, listen, I think Don alluded to earlier that, here at CONCACAF, you've probably heard me say it many times, we have a football first mentality. And because I think if you make decisions for the sport, the revenue and the money will come. And I think this is a prime example of this, where Leagues Cup was made for sporting reasons, all right? And obviously you need to organize it, commercialize it, sell your tickets. Of course, that's our business. But the decision was made not because we wanted a commercial product. It was made because it was the right thing to do for the sport, not only in US and Mexico, but also in the Confederation. And now it's led to other, type of Leagues Cup, if you will, in the rest of the region. And so I think for us, the real legacy has to be for 26. Listen, we all know it's going to be, the biggest event in the world. It's going to be the first of its kind in terms of number of teams, 3 countries. We should have trademarked it actually, by the way, because it seems like everybody else now in the world wants to do 3 countries. But anyway, and as you can see, our region is very innovative when it comes to many, many things, and football is one of them. And so I think for us, it has to be about the game. And I really think, and I've said this publicly, I've said this privately, I really think that our 2 leagues right here have the opportunity in the next cycle growing, that they could be not just top 10 in the world, but I think even better than that. I think they have an opportunity to even be top 5. And I see no reason for that, because I know the economics here. I know how we do business here. And the reality is that, yeah, there's a couple leagues that are giants, but also there's a couple leagues that are currently in the top 5 that I know that we could surpass in a very short time if we keep doing these things and doing the right things. So, but at the end of the day, it has to be about football and the product on the pitch. And I know both these gentlemen and their teams are always trying to make what's better on the pitch, because they know ultimately that's the product. And I think this will be the legacy going past 2026.
Is everyone in it, Mikel, Don? Because I'm curious to know if you found some sort of resistance within ownership of different teams about the idea of the tournament, or is everyone inside the same boat and thinking this is good for every single club of both leagues, Mikel?
Well, it has been a very positive process, Alejandro. All our teams are in. Imagine the strength of a new tournament with 47 teams. For instance, if you want to post a Twitter, you can post that Twitter in 47 institutions. Imagine the range and the importance and the strength of that message. And if you add 2 leagues, obviously you will have something very, very positive in terms of message. Obviously, when we started talking with the owners, they couldn't believe that, for instance, that we were going to stop our schedule. So we had to discuss about it, and we had to underline that, for instance, the Mexican League, in terms of structure and in terms of governance, is very different from MLS, because they were born concentrated, and we were born 100 years ago independently. So when you tell the teams that the league is going to generate the agreement, that the league is going to sell TV rights, that the league is going to organize the most important sources of income for the teams that are going to be centralized, that's different. This is the first time, for instance, where the Mexican League centralizes the income for the teams. But this first time also it's going to be, we are building an equilibrium in terms of income for the 18 teams. This is the first time, for instance, where the income, if we generate income after the tournament, we will distribute equally this income for the teams. This is going to be the first time that America will have the same income than San Luis or Querétaro. So I think that the advantages of this tournament are that we are now distributing equally everything for the teams, that the players will receive very this is very important, will receive equally also income from the tournament, that our players are going to participate internationally 1 month in the year, and that they will receive this new window for 110 countries. This will be a great opportunity for Mexico to export more players to Europe, more young players to the world. So I think that this discussion has been very positive for the development of the governance of our league. And obviously, playing the CONCACAF competition, obviously now we are going to play we have played the final of the last tournament. We are having a second opportunity to play in the direct round of the CONCACAF championship. We have a second ticket, and then we can play the most important tournament in the world, which is the Mundial de Clubes. This is another window to play the Mundial de Clubes. So in every aspect, you can discuss and explain to the clubs that this is a great added value for their sporting year.
It seems to be beneficial. What about an MLS, Don? Because we know, I mean, it's difficult for the owners to see eye to eye on every single issue. Did they like the idea? Did you find resistance? How enthusiastic are they about Leagues Cup?
Very much so, Alejandro. They, we believe that together, we could make our sport, our league, more important and popular. We try to think of ourselves not isolated onto just our league. I like to think that together we're trying to make the sport of soccer more important throughout this enormous market that we have. Our competition is for the hearts and minds of fans and people that we want to connect with, our league, our players, our sport overall. And I do think about it also from the national team perspective. So you have to innovate. And I think that's a way that our league is just very focused on. We have an innovation lab. We have employees that are working on new ideas, and they go the spectrum from the sporting side all the way down. Let's remember that VAR, the video assistant refereeing, was something that our league was focused on many years ago. We will do anything we can, and I push Victor on this all the time. Why shouldn't we be the most innovative sport in the world? Why should we have the latest and newest technologies? Why shouldn't we be thinking about ways of developing players that are leading the rest of the world? Because so much of technology lives within the borders of the United States and Canada and now Mexico. So our owners are very excited about it. Our players are excited about it. It is not a change to our system like it is with Liga MX. And I applaud Mikel for doing what he was able to do to unify and bring people together. I think that sports are at its best off the field now, when you are deeply competitive when you're playing your games, but very much partnering when you're thinking about how do you grow the opportunity for everyone. I believe in that. I've been doing this for a long time, and I was at another league here in the U.S. for a very long time. We are the leader, I think, of sport around the world, because of the way we think about innovation and opportunity. And I keep going back to our confederation and our World Cup. And to me, it all is very integral and linked together.
In the meetings you go to and in the committees you attend, Victor, have you had, I'm curious to know, any feedback around the world of soccer about what you guys are about to do, the Leagues Cup, a format that has never been tried before? Have you heard anything around the event before it starts?
Yeah, in fact, when we announced kind of the ecosystem of the club system, which obviously now the Leagues Cup is baked into, I've had many discussions in every confederation of, okay, how did this come about? How did this work? How did you deal with the calendar? In fact, when I told them that, when I told a few of them that the leagues were shutting down, they're like, "What? What do you mean shutting down? How can some of them thought that it was illegal to shut down, right?" So, and like, oh, no, it's not illegal. So there's been a lot of, and I think, a lot of people are looking at this in terms of how does it fit in their confederation? How does it fit in their area? And, listen, even in confederations where maybe there is a more mature club system, as in Europe, there is some leagues that, might be looking at this too, from a benefit standpoint. And maybe it won't tie into the Champions League like it does with us, but I think there's some benefit to enhancing their own league from a competition standpoint. So I think there's a lot of eyes on what we're doing, and it's all positive.
What are some, and let me stay with you, Victor, some of the long-term impacts for the region in sporting and in economical terms that the Leagues Cup will have going into the future?
Yeah, listen, I think we're starting at the ground, right? It's only going to grow. It's going to make our Champions League better. It should also make our region better because it gives the rest of the region something to look for, to strive for. If our two big leagues want to get better, well, leagues in Central America and Caribbean want to get better, and they look at MLS and Liga MX to say, hey, that's where we need to go. From an economic standpoint, the growth in our confederation has been tremendous. As everybody knows, we posted our budget at the Congress in Guatemala. When I first walked in 2016, we were bankrupt as a confederation, literally bankrupt, and morally bankrupt too, as history has shown. But we just posted a budget for our next cycle of nearly $1 billion, and that's all. That's all on national teams and club teams, and to me that shows also the sort of one CONCACAF vision, which is, at the end of the day, we can have our disagreements, but I think we're all one family and we need to find solutions. And nothing has been an example of that like Leagues Cup. Leagues Cup has been a tremendous example of when you actually just do it for the right reason, which is the game, that things can come up. And then, listen, as my grandfather would say, don't ever chase money, chase what you love. And I think we're all chasing what we love, which is the game, but doing it the right way. And, the economics will follow.
They will, for sure. And we're expecting big ratings as well, Mikel. I mean, we're starting to close up the conversation, but most of the games are between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m., which is beneficial. Both leagues are going to stop. That is a massive thing. And I think it's a great opportunity for Leagues Cup to really capture the audience of this growing rivalry between Liga MX and MLS.
Imagine, Alejandro, I will give you some numbers that mostly we are going to be the only two leagues playing in July, August in the world. So we are expecting an attendance of around 1.2 million people in the stadiums. And if you add the ratings of MLS and Liga MX, you can say without any doubt that we are the most watched soccer leagues in the US. No, you can say that maybe we will have around 500,000 eyes in each game. And imagine in the final rounds, the ratings, if you can see Chivas, LAFC, or a Galaxy America. Last year, we played a showcase, Don, remember, in the Rams Stadium, in the SoFi Stadium, and we broke the attendance record in one day. We have 73,000 people there for 6 hours. So you can. No one imagines the orders of magnitude of this tournament This is a great bet. And maybe we will, in the first year, convince the people that are not believing now, that do not believe now the size of this tournament. So again, in orders of magnitude, we will break records every year.
So let's start wrapping this up. Don Garber, any final thoughts? Anything you want to say to the fans before the tournament starts? We're more or less 1 month away from soccer, from the ball of soccer rolling in the Leagues Cup. Any final message that you want to say?
I'm gonna steal one of Victor's expressions with "the future is now." You know, we all are so excited about where the sport is, particularly us at MLS in the US and Canada. But the future is now to sort of capture this enormous opportunity. To me, it is very much about taking our sport, our two leagues, and our confederation and exposing it to our current fans and giving them more to be excited about. But as importantly, to those people that are not necessarily engaged with our leagues or our sport. You know, I want to see soccer or football in the US be the most popular sport in our country and in our region. And we could wait for that to happen, or we can do things that will accelerate the path. And I think Leagues Cup is the best example of that. So a real shout out to Mikel. You're a great friend and a great partner. And Vic, you know, we're all proud of being part of CONCACAF. And I think you have done an enormously terrific job in bringing our confederation the respect on and off the field that it needs. So onward to us all. I can't wait for the summer.
Victor Montagliani, a message to the fans 1 month away from the Leagues Cup.
Well, I think, first of all, the timing of it is perfect. It's the right time of the year. I think, you know, these are all knockout games. So it's not like teams are going to, you know, stroll around like a friendly here. And to me, at the end of the day, it's about that. It's about the product on the field. And I think the fans will love it. You know, you have really pretty much every match is, you know, whether it's going to be, you know, the CONCACAF El Clasico is obviously US and Mexico, although there's a couple other countries trying to knock that down. But the reality is that, you know, you're going to get that every match. And I don't know if it gets better than that, quite frankly. So I'm excited about watching it. I love the format. And I think it's innovative, as Don said, but I really think, you know, this to me is also a proud moment for the Confederation, seeing really everybody come together, you know. And listen, I give kudos to them, right? It's not always easy to bring the two big guys, I don't care what confederation, in the same room and align with a confederation, but also be leaders in the region so everybody can follow suit. And that's exactly what's happened here. So I take my hat off to Don and to Mikel for being the leaders, not just for their leagues, but also in CONCACAF. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, and I agree. The format, by the way, I think is very attractive and is going to bring out the best of this first-time tournament, the Leagues Cup. Any final words? Any final thoughts, Mikel?
Well, I have the schedule here, and I have selected in the first round. We have 3 very important games: America Columbus, Miami, and Chivas Kansas. So it's exciting from the start. So thank you very much, Victor, for your great leadership, for bringing this together. And Don, this will be a very exciting ride, especially for the fans that will have a new product, a very valuable sporting event. And I think that this will generate or will continue to generate growth in our very loved region. So thank you very much. Thank you, Alejandro. And we will see you in the summer.
So thank you to Mikel Arriola, President of Liga MX, to Victor Montagliani, President of CONCACAF, and to Don Garber, MLS Commissioner, for this fantastic panel. Great conversation. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Leagues Cup coming soon, and we'll be covering every angle of it. So that's it from us. I'll throw it back to you guys in the studio. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias Alejandro, gracias a Mr. President, a Mr. Commissioner. La verdad es que ha sido esperanzador y promisorio y yo ya me empecé a emocionar con lo que vamos a vivir durante un mes. Y el que se detengan las ligas, tanto la MLS como la Liga MX, para que concentremos nuestra atención en un torneo de un mes, tipo mundial, 47 equipos. Me gustaron mucho varias frases que estuvimos escuchando en esta primera ponencia que le da inicio a este Summit de la Liga MX. Ya está hablando el señor Víctor Montagliani de un nuevo ecosistema en la región a nivel futbolístico, de cómo está cambiando la geopolítica del juego, migrando mucho dinero también a Norteamérica. Y creo que este es un nuevo punto de partida para una época diferente para Norteamérica, para toda la región y un banderazo de salida para nuestra Copa del Mundo.
Oye, Toño, haciendo énfasis también lo que le decía Don Garber, que se robó la frase de Montagliani, dijo, el futuro es ahora y realmente están revolucionando. No hay precedentes de esta situación de la Leagues Cup. Entre tú y yo estábamos platicando y decíamos, qué organización trinacional, casi 50 equipos, 2 ligas, que es legal, por cierto, ya lo dejaron claro, es legal el frenar las ligas para poder realizar este torneo tan importante que, bueno, va a ser intensa actividad deportiva.
Intensa actividad y a nivel comercial va a ser muy emotivo para toda la gente. Imagínate, verano, niños de vacaciones, con la gente con el furor de los veranos en los Estados Unidos y con ganas de ver fútbol porque no hay otro distractor, no hay ligas que estén andando en ese momento. La Liga MX la va a agarrar en la fecha 4 y la MLS por ahí pasada la media temporada.
Pues el alcance va a ser fenomenal. Los invitamos a que se sigan sumando a esta transmisión por las diversas plataformas y se unan a la conversación a través de las redes sociales usando el hashtag Summit Liga MX. Vamos a hacer una breve pausa, pero ya continuamos.
No necesitas tener mucho dinero para mejorar tus finanzas. En BBVA sabemos que tienes ingenio, visión y valentía.